college football head coaches stepping to the mic and just saying how they feel. And to be honest with y'all, man, I've loved it. I've loved every single second of it. I love opening my X app or my Twitter app, whatever you want to call it, Instagram even, and seeing a snippet of a head coach just being authentic and saying what they think. And we've seen it a couple of times here. Deion Sanders has said it really since he got the head coaching job at Colorado, even before that, but now we just got a little bit more of a spotlight on him. We saw Dan Lanning do it after the Colorado game. We saw him do it before the Colorado game, talking about Colorado and what they haven't done in the Pac-12 conference and all that. Ryan Day grabbing the mic post-game on the field in South Bend, Indiana, after Lou Holtz said some stuff about his football team. And the SID, someone captured this and put it on social media, can tell Ryan Day is a little bit worked up, and they kind of just grab him and say, hey, take a breath here. Let's settle in. And Ryan Day, from what I could tell in that TV copy, just says, yeah, watch this. And then goes on to essentially defend his football team very publicly, says, I can't believe Lou Holtz said that. And so it kind of got me thinking. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine over this past weekend as well. Like, this is a new thing in some sense for these head coaches to say what they're saying on these microphones, to walk up to the mic and say it with their chest and talk their cash. So I love it. Got some thoughts on it. Want to hear y'all's thoughts on it, but make sure you're subscribed right here. It's college football every single day now, live 3 times a week. Prediction Tuesday, Big Time Wednesday, final thoughts / final predictions Thursday. Regardless, I want y'all dialed in here 11 a.m. Eastern on all those days, but just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the content we got for you. Also, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you call it these days, at JD Piquel. We appreciate y'all in advance for that. The reason why I love this so much, the reason why I love hearing these coaches just like say what they feel and really just speak their mind on the mic, the reason why I love it is because it's a temperature setter. It's a temperature setter because it's not a one-size-fits-all. I'm not saying every single coach has to do this, but if I'm in the locker room and I hear my coach say what Deion Sanders is saying, or I hear my coach say what Dan Lanning is saying, you know what kind of message that sends to me? It says my coach is confident. He believes in us. And if coach is confident, we're confident. I say it all the time. Teams take on the persona of their leadership. There is nothing more superior on your football team. There's no higher position of leadership on your football team than your head coach. And so if we're going to go out there and be confident, it probably starts with our head coach being confident. And I think right now, in the day and age of social media and the day and age of guys being mic'd up and cameras on the sidelines and YouTube, like the beautiful part about this is a new opportunity for these kind of coaches to get this kind of exposure. Like, these were always things that were being said to a degree. The difference is you would just read about it in the paper the next day, or you would hear about it on the radio later. It'd be talked about in a talk show. In real time, we can hear these coaches saying, yeah, I believe in my guys. We're about to go handle business. We're about to beat the heck out of them. Like, let's roll. And so you get to speak to the media, yes, but also as a head coach, your opportunity to speak to your team is enhanced. These coaches are enhanced. They're not just names holding a position that are saying random things at a microphone for a couple of minutes on a press conference during a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. Like, these are human beings now that get to send a message to their football team. And the interesting thing, we've heard Saban do this a few times. He was actually one of the first guys in my mind to do this. You send a message to your football team through a press conference, through an interview, through the media. Like, you have the ability now to apply pressure to your football team based on what you say during the week. For example, hey, our receivers now, we need more from them. If we want to win this football game, we need to have more from our receiving group this week. Well, if I'm a receiver in the locker room and I hear my coach say that, I feel the pressure to perform. And some guys do well with that, some guys don't, but I promise you, the guys that you need to succeed on Saturday will do well with that. The guys that are cut from the right kind of cloth, they will do well with that. And I'm just using that as an example, but I think it's a unique opportunity now for these head coaches to kind of turn the heat up a little bit on their team in a good way, the competitive heat up in a good way. Now, there's going to be a lot of people now, we've heard it already, we've seen some of this, it's bad for the game. It's theatrics. It's becoming WWE. It's poor sportsmanship. That's a good one. It's a lack of leadership. That's immature. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know what it is? It's football. It's competitive juices flowing. Like, there's now more mics and more acceptance, I think, for coaches to speak their mind. But this is something that's been going on for a long time. Like, this isn't the same thing. We saw the clips from the cinematic recap of the Oregon video when they played Colorado, and you got Shiloh Sanders at midfield saying some wild things about Oregon and what he's going to do. And people see that and say, oh my gosh, what a poor sport. What is he doing? That is horrific. I hate that. Well, yes, we hate that because we're sitting at home comfortable on our lazy boy or in bed and we're looking at this highlight video from the comfort of society. That's not society. That is war. Like, when you step between the white lines, anything goes. You know why I'm okay with that? Because you have to then back it up. Shiloh Sanders saying what he said, Dan Lanning, Deion Sanders, all those guys saying what they say leading up to the game, they got to go back it up in a matter of minutes. Dan Lanning telling his football team, we're about to go speak with our pads. We're not about clicks. We're about wins. He then had to go back that up minutes later. And so I'm fine with it because it's not just talk. It is the lead up and it is competitive juices flowing before you go to battle. And so I am all about it. And there's people that will have issue with that. The people that have issues with that never really competed at a high level. And that's fine. That's not shade on them. I'm just saying there's a certain degree of context you need to interpret this correctly. And so every time you touch a microphone now as a head coach, guess what else? You have the opportunity to recruit. That's the reality. Anytime you touch the mic, you have the opportunity to recruit. And so whenever Dan Lanning steps up to the mic, whenever Deion Sanders steps up to the mic, you know who's hearing them? You know who's hearing those guys? Recruits. Yes, you have phone calls with guys. Yes, you have official visits. But what kind of message do you want to send to a high school recruit is really what you got to ask. Because everything I've heard Ryan Day say, everything I've heard Dan Lanning say, everything I've heard Deion Sanders say, like, to be honest with you, they're saying, I love my guys. They're saying, I'm for my guys. They're saying, I believe in my guys. And it's war with anyone who feels differently. It's us versus y'all. Come and get it. You know what kind of message that sends to a recruit? That the guy's loyal, that the guy cares about his guys, that he's going to fight for you, that he believes in his guys. You want to go play for a guy like that or a guy who just says nonsense coach speak for a matter of minutes after a game when he just got embarrassed or whether he just had a big win and shows zero emotion? You want to go play for a robot? You want to go play for a guy who wears a heart on his sleeve and goes to war for his dudes? I think that's the question you got to really consider when it comes to, is this poor sportsmanship? Is this bad leadership? No. It's guys being authentic, and I promise you, confidence, loyalty, emotion, people in general gravitate to that. Recruits gravitate to that. You want to know why? Because people commit to people. Yes, you commit to a logo. Yes, there's NIL baked into it. Yes, there's all those factors. But at the end of the day, recruiting, at its very core, the kids that ultimately will last at your school and stay at your school are committed because of the relationship. All right? So, results ultimately, let's make sure this is clear, those speak the loudest. So just because Kirby Smart isn't out there talking his cash every other Saturday into the mic, like, I think if Kirby Smart were poked the right way, I think there would be a fair amount of things said from him. Same thing with Nick Saban. But results speak the loudest. And the reason why Dan Lanning went viral on Twitter the other day, because his team got results, and he talked about it afterwards. Same thing with Ryan Day. Big spot, team just won a football game, says what he wants to say, talks about his football team. Results speak the loudest, but I'm loving the fact that these coaches now are being a little bit more vocal, and I'm loving the fact that us in the media and us as college football fans get more exposure to it. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I hope we see more of it because I think it's good for college football. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.